So this is part 3 of a series where we are sharing all of the signs and symptoms of the most common hormonal conditions and what you can do about it. Your thyroid gland is the queen of all of your other hormones. It is the master regulator of your metabolism, but not only does it do that, it also helps to control your energy levels, your heart rate, your fertility. It has a major impact on your stomach acid production and how quickly or slowly you are digesting your food. It has an impact on so many functions in your body, from the growth of your hair and skin and nails to how quickly cells are turning over. It really does impact everything. So it's no wonder that when your thyroid is off, it impacts the rest of your body and you feel it in other areas. The issue with thyroid issues is that oftentimes they really go misdiagnosed. About 40% of the population is estimated to have a thyroid condition, but what often happens is that people will go to their doctor and their doctor will tell them your hair loss, your slow digestion, you're feeling cold all the time, your weight gain are symptoms of getting older, and they don't do the proper testing that needs to be done so that they can actually diagnose you with hypothyroidism. The other thing that we really want to consider here is that women are diagnosed, or should be diagnosed, far more, often up to 20 times more than men with thyroid conditions, because of how our other female hormones, whether that's postpartum, going through menopause, can start to impact the thyroid and its function. So why do so many people get diagnosed or maybe go undiagnosed but have the symptoms of thyroid issues? There's so many things that can contribute and cause a perfect storm for thyroid problems, whether that is a genetic predisposition, which oftentimes a lot of people have. Even for me, when I was going through my thyroid issue and getting diagnosed, both of my parents have thyroid issues. So that does play a role. But then there's also the crazy toxic burden that we live under these days, whether that's your cleaning products, your personal care products, your makeup, your skincare, your shampoo and conditioner. All of these things can be a toxic burden, and those are things that you can clean up and control if you know that you are struggling. Overconsumption of things like soy can impact thyroid function. We can have issues with estrogen dominance that can cause thyroid issues. Oftentimes we see a very, very close connection between women who are on the birth control pill, especially for an extended period of time, and then an onset of hypothyroidism. Gut issues like candida or leaky gut can also contribute to thyroid issues. And so oftentimes you may have one or a couple of these factors creating the perfect storm to then again onset a thyroid issue. For me, I was on the birth control pill for 10 plus years. I had a genetic predisposition. All of my products at the time were toxic and full of so many different chemicals and xenoestrogens and things like that. So it created this perfect storm where my thyroid started to slow and slow and slow, and then I started to feel the symptoms. So what symptoms should you be looking out for? Man, this is tough because, like I said, these symptoms can be really glossed over and looked at like something is just, you're getting older, you're aging, this is just a normal part of life. But if you feel a combination of these symptoms, I highly recommend that you go in for testing. One is depression. You feel sad all the time. You feel like you've kind of like lost this zest for life. You feel like you don't really have the motivation or energy to get out of bed in the morning. That's one. Oftentimes women are put on an SSRI or some sort of antidepressant as a band-aid when actually the real problem is hypothyroidism. 2 is hair loss. For me, I was literally on Rogaine at 23 years old because my hair was falling out at my temples and I had no idea why. Also, when you have the outer third of your eyebrow and it's starting to shed and it's starting to thin, that's a really good sign that there's something going on with your thyroid, that this hair on the outer third of your eyebrow is not coming in properly. Weight gain. This is a really big one. And again, oftentimes people, especially women who are going through perimenopause and menopause, are just told, oh yeah, your metabolism is slowing down. Why is your metabolism slowing down? Your thyroid, again, is the master regulator of your metabolism. And so it's important that if you haven't drastically changed your diet and you haven't drastically changed your exercise routine, that you look into what's going on with your thyroid if you're having a really hard time losing weight. And so this can be, looking at not just your TSH, but also your free T3, because that's the hormone that is controlling, it's the active form of thyroid hormone controlling your metabolism. If you're having sleep issues, if you are having insomnia, that's a good sign that there's something going on with your thyroid. If you are cold all the time, again, something because of the way that the thyroid regulates your metabolism, regulates energy expenditure, and regulates then your body temperature. If you're feeling cold all the time, if you always are in need of a jacket, good sign that you may have something going on with your thyroid. Low libido is a really, really common sign of thyroid issues. And finally, irregular periods and infertility. When your thyroid is not functioning properly, it impacts ovulation, it impacts your capacity to hold on to a pregnancy or to carry a pregnancy to full term. And so these are things that you want to look at if you are not having a cycle every 28 to 35 days, or if you are having recurrent miscarriages. It's really important to look at the health and function of your thyroid. And so the reason that thyroid issues often get misdiagnosed is because so many doctors aren't willing to do the proper testing. It's because so many doctors are only looking at the signaling from your brain to your thyroid, which is called TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Typically, doctors will look at a range of 0.5 to 5.0. That's what most Western doctors are looking at. That is not optimal. In fact, we talk about this a lot on our YouTube, on our Instagram. We don't want to be quote unquote normal when it comes to Americans. Most Americans are metabolically unhealthy. Most Americans are on 5 different prescription medications. We do not want to be normal. We want to be optimal. So what does optimal thyroid function look like? Your TSH should be between 0.5 and 2.5. But from there, your doctor should also be testing your thyroid hormones that are being produced in the gland, not just the signals from your brain to your thyroid. So what are those hormones? Free T4, that is the most prominent hormone that your thyroid is producing. Free T4 then gets converted, most of it in the gut, to free T3. That is your active form of thyroid hormone. If that conversion process is not happening properly, you have subclinical hypothyroidism. So even if your TSH is normal, if you don't have enough free T3, this is really important for your doctor to be looking at. You have to know how much of the actual thyroid hormone you have, not just the signals from your brain to your thyroid. You need to know how much hormone you're producing to understand, hey, maybe this is why I'm not losing weight. Maybe this is why my energy is so low and I feel kind of sad and off all the time. Then you want to be looking also at your reverse T3, which is how your thyroid kicks out hormones. So this can often be elevated or high if you maybe have adrenal issues and you are chronically stressed. This can also be high if you are on too much thyroid medication. So if you're somebody who's taking medication already, you know you have a thyroid issue, but you're on too much medication and your own thyroid is being suppressed, which you don't want to do, because then you decrease the way that your thyroid is functioning on its own and you become more dependent on medication. You want to know, am I on the proper dose? So reverse T3 is really important. You also want to be looking at your antibodies. So there's 2 different antibody types that they can test for. You want to be looking at both, because oftentimes I will see people who have a thyroid condition and they don't know that it's an autoimmune thyroid condition, which is actually more so a condition of the immune system than it even is of the thyroid. And some of the things that you would do to regulate that, especially from a holistic perspective, are going to be completely different than what you would do if you just had normal, regular hypothyroidism. And so getting the proper testing done, getting that complete panel, and working with a doctor who is open and willing to do that for you is so important. If they're gatekeeping information or they're not willing to take a deeper dive into your health and your hormones when you have a suspicion or some sort of a hunch that something feels off, it's time to find a new doctor. So we can do all of that testing for you here at WBK within our lab reviews and our coaching, but there are so many naturopathic doctors and functional medicine doctors out there that can also do it for you. You just have to find the right one. I hope that this video was helpful for you. If you like this video, you can rate, review, and subscribe. And don't miss our next series where we are talking about looking for the signs and symptoms of hormonal imbalances and when it comes to androgens, testosterone, and specifically PCOS. I can't wait to see you guys next time, and I hope you have a great week.